You guys love sending me Iman Gadzhi videos to react to break down and to analyze the different persuasion tactics that are all going on in it. I think Iman's name and Andrew Tate's name are the most common names that I get in my inbox or my email with little links to their videos for me to analyze and break down. And I think the reason for that is they're both controversial figures as well. But it looks like today, Iman is leading up and has created a trailer for a brand new course which he's releasing, or perhaps doing a launch for kind of like his Renaissance launch that he did a little while ago. And that's exactly what I'll be breaking down today. Why do I know the persuasion tactics? It's because it's my business to know the persuasion tactics. My business is consulting for other businesses and organizations and teaching them how to use persuasion principles to ethically sell and ethically market. I estimate I've added around about 100 million in revenue for various different companies in total. So I've got an eye for this stuff. Let's have a look at the video and see what little persuasion tricks he's using.
It's true. We are standing at a crossroads in history, and the journey ahead is going to be catastrophically different than the ones we have experienced in our lifetimes. You see,
okay, bro is flying in on a helicopter straight away. You've got to appreciate the production, high value production and cinematic, visuals that they've got here, and the fact he's flying in on a friggin' helicopter, it really creates that novelty, sets him apart from everyone else. Now, what he's done there is something very, very interesting. I don't know if you heard what he said, but aside from the obvious authority of having the ability to afford a helicopter, he does something called the framing effect. What the framing effect is, he says, we're at a crossroads in history. Things are going to be catastrophically different going into the future. So the framing effect is however you lay information out, like in what order or what sequence, depends on what value and how people perceive the following bits of information. Okay, so what he's saying right there is we're at a crossroads in history. That's the first bit. We're the future's going to be catastrophically different, which makes the next weight of the words which he's going to say, the perceived value of them in the viewer's eyes, huge, right? Because he's built up to it. It's called the framing effect. And it was cleverly used just there then. Okay, let's watch some more.
Usually you see me sitting in my office in Dubai giving you the 7 habits, the 5 money principles, or the 3 things you should know. And not to say that those videos weren't important. They were. However, they were only part of the equation. They were the answers. What I haven't given you were the questions that led me to get to those answers in the first place.
What he's done there is he's strategically talked about how his previous videos were important, but not as important as what he's about to tell you right now. So if we think back to his previous videos of what he's done, he is constantly laying in the absolute importance it is you pay attention to them, right? So the importance of those is already high. And now what he said is that is nowhere near as important as what I'm trying to tell you about right now, right? So he's done this contrast principle in which he's took something which is already important and he has added immense value onto it as well. So this framing effect, which he's done in the first, 32 seconds of this video, followed by this contrast bias with the authority bias of the helicopter flying in, has created this immense hook, which he's just delivered just on screen right now. It's very good stuff. It's very good writing.
So today, I'm not here to give you answers. I'm here to take you on a journey with me. And that, my friend, is when I had my second big realization. I didn't really know what true freedom really meant. That was when I truly realized that only having money is not the answer, because you can have all the money you want and still be what I call a subordinate to your ordinary job, to your income, to your situation.
So what he's doing here is he's creating a strategical amount of pain for the viewer to feel that they aren't in control. And, to some extent, we're all not in control of what happens. We can only focus on the things we can control. But he's harnessed this in his marketing of his message, basically, and done it in a way which it stings just a little bit. Remember, he used to say on his older videos, the puppet masters are controlling you. And now what he's saying is, you still haven't got control of the situation because you're not in control of it because of your own job, your own income, or your own situation as well. So he's casting the net a little bit wider. He's creating this different narrative to get people to believe that they are, need some sort of solution for this pain of not feeling in control. If you are a human being and you are past the age of 18, you will have felt at some point that you are not in control. It's perfectly normal. It's weaponized in this video to encourage you to think, you know what, that really resonates with me. That resonates with my situation. Very clever.
Just think about all the decisions you've taken in the last week. Waking up the time that you woke up, getting home the time that you got home. The last 20 reels you watched on Instagram, out of all the decisions you've taken, how many of those were actually truly yours? And now tell me.
It was clever throwing in the Instagram reels because we all know how addictive these platforms are. You end up scrolling and getting stuck down the rabbit hole because it's just so addictive. It knows exactly what you like. And he's used that as a compelling narrative to say, hey, look, I told you you weren't in control. You didn't want to do that. You ever scrolled and then looked at the clock, it's like 20 minutes later and you're like, oh, what happens, right? This is what happens to people in 2024 because the internet's so addictive, right?
Are you truly making your own decisions, or are you a subordinate to someone else's will? Now remember, history repeats itself. Back in the American Revolution, after more than 169 years of living as subordinates under British rulers, a few specific men got tired of having other people make decisions on their behalf. They were tired of the old world. Instead, they wanted a new world, a land where a man could create his own future, where a man could benefit from the brilliance of his own mind and the strength of his own muscles, and they were determined to turn this vision into reality. And this determination gave birth to a new type of man. They were called sovereign men. The sovereign men pushed.
I like the storytelling because I do like history, but my instant thoughts looking at this is I know his audience is probably from 18 to 24 years old. And when I look at this and I see like the big words, sovereign men, talking about subordination, talking about American history and things like this, I'm wondering if the targeting's slightly off. Because I've seen this before on one of a different video that I commentated on, and I was looking at it and I was like, I don't 100% think that the targeting is right for this, and that is exactly what 18 to 24 year olds like. If we were to look at what 18 to 24 year olds like, there's going to be a huge bunch of them that are all going to say, oh, my favorite thing is history, my favorite thing is blah, blah, blah. But really, they respond to big shows of wealth, big shows of status, women, things like this. And that is what the 18 to 24 year old responds to. I know because I've studied the market. I've also been 18 to 24 at one point in my life as well. So I look at this and I do wonder if his marketing slightly off in that, if he'd lose people there, which makes me question, once again, and I said it in a previous video, if he's chucking things at a wall and attempting to see what sticks with the narratives which he's saying. But let's carry on, let's find out.
The boundaries of what was thought possible by creating a new world of opportunity and freedom.
Does this give anyone Kingsman vibes? You ever seen the film Kingsman where they're all dressed in like extremely smart and got all the guns like spies? I've got Kingsman vibes off it. It's a great film, by the way. The first one, that epic church shootout scene, epic.
And what's happening now? Those are the signs of an incoming change in sovereignty. So listen, there's a crack in the dam. We are on the verge of the next shift in sovereignty. And those who make the leap into this new world are going to experience one of the most prosperous eras of our lifetimes. I call this new era digital sovereignty.
One thing I would comment on this is that the language is, once again, slightly off. It's slightly above, I would say, the language that 18 to 24 year olds is interested in. So it's got all these excellent persuasion techniques, but then it misses the mark on, in my opinion anyway, but from working on huge campaigns, misses the mark on some of these other areas as well. Talking about the word prosperous, right, to say rich, right? Talking about digital sovereignty as well. Like, that's not typical words that are going to resonate with a younger audience. And of course, that's the name of what his course sounds like, but I do think that's an interesting point.
And we are now in an inflection point that could really take us one of two turns. Just as the pioneers of the American Revolution faced a choice between remaining under British rule or fighting for independence, you now must choose between remaining tethered to outdated systems or becoming a sovereign man yourself.
Again, he's using that contrast principle there, giving the two paths of, hey, you've got to choose now whether you want to, keep yourself tethered to those outdated systems or become a sovereign man yourself, right? And he's pitched one as a lot of pain within the path, and another one where, you will get, you can see all the pictures here he's showing. Let's just flick through those pictures again. He's going for more the 18 to 24 market, which is, the girls on the jet ski here, the private jet.
Yourself.
The girls on that boat as well. So he has come back around a little bit with the positioning there and also added in little bits of authority as well throughout it.
If you're ready to stop living like a subordinate and take the leap into the new world, I will see you on.
You see very similar marketing from Andrew Tate, because he would scream at the screen saying, you're all brokies, you're all friggin' slaves. But what Iman's doing here is he went for a little bit more of a sophisticated feel, which does go along consistently with the video quality and how high production it is. But I still think it's targeted at the 18 to 24-year-old market, which is why Andrew Tate's very successful, because he's speaking in very simple terms here. But I feel Iman's he's talking about that sovereign man. He's talking about prosperity. He's talking about, old English type feel to it. So highly compelling in terms of persuasion, but I don't imagine this has made that many people, as much as his previous campaigns, as excited about whatever's coming now. So let's just have a little look down in these comments here. All I understood is that the editor majored in cinematics. I agree, but Iman pays higher than Disney. You said a lot without actually saying anything. Iman running low on money. Bro did all the motivation to only say at the end, be subordinate to me. Cool cinematics, but I just watched a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, you see, this is being reflected a little bit in the comments here. And I'm not sure if he's stopped there was a stage where he was using the bot comments and there was hundreds and, thousands of frigging glowing reviews about Iman. I don't know if you remember seeing that, but they're all like singing him huge amounts of praise, saying, oh, Iman, this is the best video ever. Iman, you've changed my life with this video. And I think that got to a stage, and it's getting to the stage with a lot of the gurus on social media where people are starting to spot it now. We've seen it on some really big people who you wouldn't think would use things like that, but they are using it and they're starting to get called out on it now. And, I've encouraged that a little bit as well with some of my guru videos. But I was more commenting on like the social proof about it. But I think people have started to call it out in the comment section. So another person says, cool cinematics, but I watched a whole lot of nothing. What the hell happened to Renaissance Man? It's almost the same campaign branded to now Sovereign Man. Very interesting thing, and not a lot of people know this about marketing, but marketing becomes ineffective over time. And your products, because of this, can become ineffective over time. And what it requires actually and no course teaches this. I don't know why it doesn't teach it, because it's true, right? The novelty wears off and the subscriber list, the email subscriber list, decays, right? So you have to create new products to gain new attention, new angles on things, new offers, new promises, right? Which is why if you look at big, you've probably seen them, like big SMMA products, they eventually burn out because they've got not enough new things going on in them, right? So if you look at like Tesla, they're constantly changing things, bringing out brand new models of cars. So the brand Tesla is staying the same, but they're innovating inside it, right, to create new things. So Iman's brand here is staying the same, but he's innovating, creating brand new things. And it's a good way to just bring in brand new revenue, because then your subscriber and follower list don't get too bored. The novelty doesn't wear off too much, right? So the The next person says, I respect this guy's hustle. I mean, he's literally telling you guys that you're subordinates and you guys feel motivated just because some meaningless words, some very high class editing. I agree with that. The editing was fantastic. I'm not a big editing guy, as you guys can tell. I'm filming in a spare room right now. That's where I do all my work though. You know, it doesn't mean a lot to me, but that was great, honestly. That editor is brilliant. I can't hear the dramatic music. Can you make it even louder? Please, guys, don't fall into this video. He is just doing marketing. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of negative comments here. So you can see what he's done there. He's created this compelling narrative about how you are being controlled. You're never in control. You're not in control of your own decisions. You're not in control of your own actions, right? You're spending all this time scrolling on Instagram. Your job, your income, or your situation is either making the decisions for you. And he's created this compelling narrative, basically, to then say, hey, that's not the way. You can get true freedom here by becoming a sovereign man, and I'm going to show you that. I'm not sure how well it was received. It's got some compelling persuasion tactics in it, but I'm not entirely sure if the narrative has connected with the audience as well as it should have done. Okay, well, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. You know, Iman's a controversial figure, so the comments are always interested in the video. Some of you love him, some of you hate his guts, right? Some of you call him out all the time. But, you know, I'm here to comment on the persuasion because that's what I do. Okay, so see you in the next one, guys. Take it easy.